So I want to tell you guys about something that I think every household should truly have. It's called the House Manual by my friend Jackie McDougall, because managing a home comes with a lot of information that somehow ends up scattered everywhere. The House Manual gives it one place to live, so you can actually find what you need when you need it. It's practical, it's easy to use. Every house really should come with one. Honestly, if you're a realtor listening to this, this is the best gift that you can include for people who have just purchased a home from you. It's only $39.99. It's a no-brainer. It ships for free, and you get the digital version while you're waiting for the physical one to arrive. The link to buy is in the show notes, so do yourself a favor and cross this off your list today. If you've been dragging your business behind you instead of building it, this episode is for you. If every single task this month has felt like pushing a boulder up a hill that somehow keeps getting more steep, if you are working harder than you've ever worked, and you're getting back less than you've ever gotten back, and you can't for the life of you figure out what you're doing wrong, this episode is for you. Because everywhere you look right now, somebody is telling you to stop hustling. Rest is productive, the soft life era. And listen, I understand why that message caught fire. I love that message, honestly. A lot of us are tired in a way that is not normal. A lot of us have built businesses that have turned into a second full-time job that we can't ever quit, right? That's the whole joke of being an entrepreneur, right? You start a business so you can have freedom, and then you have no freedom whatsoever because you work 24/7. So when somebody comes along and says that, you're allowed to rest, of course that hits, right? Of course you feel that in your bones. And of course we want that to be true. But I'm not going to sit here today and tell you to stop hustling. Okay. So that's not exactly what I'm saying. I actually do think that you need to work. I think that you need to take real, tangible, forward action in your business, the kind that really moves something. And I know that's not the popular thing to say right now, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I care more about you actually getting free than I do about giving you permission to stay stuck in just a prettier, cuter, Instagrammable way. So here's what I'm going to do instead today. I am going to change your mind about what the problem actually is, because you've been fighting the wrong thing this whole time. And that fight, that really specific thing, is the entire reason that it's felt so brutal. So let me show you what I mean. Welcome to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo, where we blend rock solid tips with a little bit of magic. I'm your host, Renee Bowen, a life and a business coach, professional photographer, Diet Coke lover, and mom of 3 grown kids, here to walk you through all the ins and outs of identity-based marketing and how to run a business that feels like freedom. Welcome back to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo. I'm your host, Renee Bowen, and today we are doing another episode in my little summer series, Let Me Change Your Mind About, where I take a topic and I kind of twist it on its head and show you a different perspective. In today's episode, I'm going to change your mind about hustle. So I want to be really honest with you guys before I go even further into this episode. And also I'm going to try and keep this one fairly concise as well. But I want to be honest about something, because I'm not going to teach you this from like some mountaintop where I have everything all figured out. I'm living this exact thing as I record this episode. So I'm not going to pretend that I have it tied up with a bow, because I don't. I know with total clarity exactly what I need to be doing right now in my business. I know it in my bones. I've known it for a while. And not just because I'm a coach and I help other people do this. Yes, I've been doing this a long time, but I'm also really intuitive and I know myself really well. Probably a little too much. I'm probably too self-aware, but I know what I need to do, but I'm not fully doing it. I'm actually doing the opposite of it on a couple of things, and I'm watching myself do it right in real time. Like looking down at myself going, what are you doing? So it's kind of its own special little kind of torture. But here's a piece I will let you in on right now. Okay. I'm a human design generator. I know that I'm built to respond when things come into my field. I'm just meant to respond to them. I'm not built to sit down in a cold, empty room and force something into existence out of sheer will. But Lord knows I have tried, like over and over and over again. But that is not my design. My design is to let life bring me the thing and then respond to it in my whole body. And responding, like real responding, only happens when you let go enough to actually let something in. You can't respond to a thing that you're too clenched to notice. Okay. And when money feels tight, the oldest part of my brain does not care one bit about my human design chart. It doesn't care about my design or my astrology or my strategy or the 30 years I've spent building this stuff. It just wants me to push, right? My programming takes over. I'm Gen X. We were taught if you are bored, like, don't ever say you're bored to your parents as a Gen X kid. You will be put to work. Okay. We were ingrained with work, work, work. You need to work really hard. And unless you work really hard, you will not get what you want. And you certainly won't make money. Okay. But that part of me wants to grab the wheel and force. So I've been pushing on a few things. I know I am supposed to be releasing. I can see it happening and I'm still doing it. I'm not telling you so that you can feel bad for me. And I'm definitely not telling you so that you think I've got my act together. I'm telling you because I think we do each other a real disservice when we only show up after we've already solved the thing, right? When we only teach from that scar and never from the wound. Now, of course, there's a lot to say about that. Like, I don't think that that's a great idea in and of itself, but I do think that circumstances matter, right? So I am not going to speak to you from any like super deep details of the wound right today. Because even though I'm still in it, I'm not deep in it. I've been in this for a while. So I know I see the other side. I'm very clear about where I'm going and I have a lot of clarity on what I'm building. And I have enough self-respect to know that a wound I'm still bleeding from isn't quite a lesson yet, but I know it's there and I know I'm close. And I will tell you this much because it's kind of the whole point of this episode. This part, the part where you know exactly what to do and you're struggling to do it anyway, that's not a detour off the path. Okay. That is the path. That is actually what it looks like to become the version of yourself who has this handled. You don't like arrive at her and then the story stops. You become her by staying in it long enough and honestly, radically honestly enough to finally see what is underneath the pushing. Okay, so that's the invitation today for you and for me too. So let's get into it. So I want to change your mind about hustle, but hustle is not the problem. Force is the problem. And I want you to really sit with that because those two words get treated like they're the same thing, but they're really not. Hustle and force are not the same thing. Real hustle is sustained action. It's showing up. It's doing the work when the work is not fun. It's the consistency, the reps, the very unglamorous middle of something, building something very real. That's not the villain. That's never been the villain here. The people telling you that hustle's the enemy have probably convinced a whole generation of exhausted women that the answer to their exhaustion is to do less of the thing that actually builds the business. So I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to sell you that because I don't think that's true. And deep down, I think you already know that that's not true. But force is something else entirely. Force is an action that comes out of a body that has decided that something is a threat, right? Force is what happens when you're creating from fear instead of clarity. And here's the thing that makes it really sneaky, I think. From the outside, force and hustle look identical. They feel like that a lot too, right? Same hours, same laptop, same late nights, same to-do list. You can't tell them apart by looking at the calendar, but your nervous system can definitely tell them apart. Your body always knows that difference, even when your calendar has no idea. So the question is not, are you working too hard? The question is, where is the work coming from? Is it coming from a regulated place, from a version of you that is grounded and building something on purpose? Or is it coming from a dysregulated place, from a version of you that's just really trying to survive the next 5 minutes and then just calling that a strategy? Because one of those things builds a business and the other one slowly builds a cage and that tells you that it's a business, but you know deep down that it's not. You wouldn't be feeling this way if it were. So let me show you exactly what happens in the body when it is force, because that's where you can really kind of start to see the difference here and where it stops being just mindset fluff, because it really is biology. So when you're forcing something, your body's not neutral about it. Your body's having a major physiological response, and you're usually too busy pushing to notice it, right? Cortisol shows up, adrenaline, and you need to understand what those chemicals are actually for, because it will change how you see every hard day that you've ever had. Cortisol and adrenaline are not here to help you write a better email. They are not there to help you price your new collection or offer, or plan your fall marketing or your launch, or have a creative breakthrough. That's not their job. Their job, their entire evolutionary reason for existing, is to get you away from a threat as fast as humanly possible. So when you sit down to do a very deep, creative, strategic practice or work, while those chemicals are literally flooding your system, you're asking that part of your body that is built for running away from a predator to please sit down and be innovative and creative now. It can't do that. It's not designed to do that. And you're working against your own wiring. And there is actual research on this, because I love me some data. It's called the Yerkes-Dodson law, and it's been around for like over 100 years. So it's not like some new wellness trend. What it shows is that performance climbs as stress increases, but only up to a point. There's a peak. And after that peak, more stress doesn't give you more performance. It gives you less. Performance falls off a cliff. So the part that I kind of really want to hone in on, and that I really hope you really hear, is that the drop off, that collapse, is not you failing. Okay. It's not you being lazy, dropping the ball, not being good enough, like all that stuff that your inner saboteur likes to tell you. No, because it's really not a discipline problem in and of itself. It's just your brain doing exactly what it's built to do under too much stress, which is to pull the resources away from these higher, slower, strategic parts of you and hand them to the fast, reactive, survival parts of you. So remember, your unconscious mind just wants to keep you safe and alive. So when you hit that wall, when you physically cannot make yourself finish the launch page or send the email or edit your gallery, and you sit there calling yourself lazy and undisciplined, like your inner saboteur just hops in, starts like hammering, cracking the whip on you. Nothing's wrong with you, okay? You're just wrong about what is happening. You're dysregulated. And that distinction really does matter a lot, because those two things have completely opposite solutions. If you're truly lazy, the answer is to try harder. But if you're dysregulated, trying harder is literally the worst possible thing that you can do, because you're pouring more of the exact chemical on the fire that started it. You're forcing a system that is already screaming at you to stop. So that's the whole reason I talk about regulation the way that I do. I know that it's like a very kitschy little Instagrammable snippet. Everybody's talking about nervous system regulation, and I really don't think most people understand what that really is, right? It's not necessarily a bubble bath, okay? It's the actual operating requirement for doing like really good work. A dysregulated nervous system can't really build the business that you love because of what I was just talking about. It can only build you a faster hamster wheel. And listen, regulation doesn't always look calm either. So there is a version where maybe you feeling regulated is you in flow, getting things done, being very lit up by the work that you do. But that's not what I'm talking about here, because you know that when you're in flow and you're actually feeling that momentum and the joy that you get from it, that is a whole different thing than force or pushing or hustle, truly. Okay, so that's about your body. But here's the one that actually I think matters more, because it's not even about your body. It's about your mind, and it's about attention. There's a famous psychology study, and you might have heard some version of it, but I want you to really let it sort of settle in and sit with it, because it explains something about what almost nobody really understands about why forcing doesn't truly, truly work. Okay. Researchers told people very simply, do not think about a white bear. That was it. Just whatever you do, don't picture a white bear. And you already know what happened. That's all anyone could think about. The white bear took over the entire mind. So the harder they tried to push that thought away, the more the thought owned them. The suppression itself is what kept the bear front and center. This has a name, and it's called ironic process theory, and it has held up in study after study after study. So why am I telling you about the bear? Because forcing an outcome in your business works exactly the same way. When you push against something that is not moving, when you grip it and you strain and you try and muscle it into place, you're not actually moving toward what you want. You are pouring your attention into the actual resistance. You are feeding it. So the more force you apply to the thing that is stuck, the more of your own mind gets handed over to the stuckness. Think about the last launch that didn't go the way you wanted, or the last season of sessions that you did if you're a photographer. Think about how much of your mental energy went into the fact that it wasn't working. The refreshing, the checking, the spiraling, the what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my offer? Why is nobody buying? Is it my pricing? Every one of those thoughts is the white bear. Every one of those thoughts is force. And all of it, every bit of it, is pulling you further away from the regulated, clear, responsive state where really good ideas and aligned action actually come from. So now you have two things happening at once, and they're stacking. Your body is dumping stress chemicals that shut down your strategic brain, and your mind is fixating harder on the resistance the harder that you push. So that's the trap. That's really the whole trap right there. And no amount of white knuckling and forcing gets you out of it, because white knuckling is what built it, which means the way out can't be more force. It has to be something else entirely. And this is where I want to get a little woo-woo with you. So stay with me, because I'm going to build you the bridge before I ask you to walk across it with me. In 2012, physicists at CERN confirmed something they had only been able to theorize since 1964. Almost 50 years they chased this thing, okay? And yes, CERN is a whole different topic. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of CERN because they just turned it off for the first time in a long time. What they found was a field, an actual field. And I mean that like in the real physics sense of the word, okay? A field that fills the entire universe. And this field is the reason that matter has mass at all. So it's not a metaphor that I'm like creating for you to envision. Before particles interact with this field, they have no mass. They just move at the speed of light. Nothing can hold together. No stars, no planets, no bodies, no you. Every physical thing that exists, everything that you can see and touch and hold exists because it interacted with this field. And they confirmed it. It's real. So there is an invisible field that everything in the universe is moving through right now, including you, including your body, including the chair that you're sitting in. Now, I'm not a physicist, okay? I could barely pass that class. It's cool. If I took it now, to be fair, I probably would do a lot better, but not at 17. But I do want to be really clear about that, okay? I'm not trying to be a physicist here. And I want to be clear about this next part too, because this is where I see a lot of people get sloppy, and I'm not going to do that with you. I want to try and stay very clear. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you that CERN proved the universe is conscious. I'm not going to tell you that they proved manifestation is real, or that your next client is floating in the field waiting for you to surrender so that she can drop into your inbox. That's not exactly what they found. And I would be remiss if I, tried to explain it in that way, right? But here's what I am going to tell you. I find it deeply interesting that physics spent 50 years and built the most expensive machine in human history to confirm that there is an invisible field the entire universe runs on, and that human beings have been pointing at that exact same field and calling it different names for thousands of years before we had any way to measure it. Energy, spirit, chi, every tradition circling the same territory from a different doorway. I'm not telling you science proved my spirituality. I'm telling you the mystics and the physicists keep bumping into each other in the same dark room. And I think it's worth paying attention to. Okay. I've always sort of believed like we're talking about the same stuff. And maybe that's just how my brain works. I like to call it strategic mysticism. But that's a bridge that I'm choosing to walk across. And you can walk with me, or you can leave it right there. It's totally fine. Either way, we're still friends. Okay. And here's what I do believe all the way down, because I have lived it and I'm living it right now. When you're constantly pushing up against your own life and you're not moving through the field, you're not like letting it sort of be there and immersing yourself with it, you're fighting it. You're bracing against the very thing that is supposed to be carrying you. And you can't broadcast a state of ease or be in a receptive, responsive, magnetic state while every cell in your body is clenched into a fist. Okay. Think about it, right? Just think about how it feels to be constricted like that in your body. You're not letting anything in, even if it is this like awesome field of energy that is literally there to support you. You're not going to do it. Force doesn't just exhaust you, it changes what you're broadcasting. And what you're broadcasting is what comes back to you. So the pushing is not just hard on you, it's actively repelling the thing you are pushing so hard to get, which is the cruelest joke of all. It's the exact joke I'm caught in the middle of right now, too. I mean, honestly, the whole reason I had the idea for this podcast is because, like, I can show you my journal. This is what I've been journaling on for like a good 6 months. So, what do we actually do about it? I'm going to give you something that you can actually do today. Well, if force creates more resistance in your body and in your mind, then the answer can't be to push harder. It just can't. We've already established that. Okay. I hope that if you're with me so far, you're like, yes, I'm there. Okay. So here's the thing that we need to do instead. And I want you to really do it and not just like think about it. Okay. Commit to doing it if you're in this place like this. Before you push into the very next task on your list today, stop for a second and do this. We need to get you out of reactive mode. We need to get you into receiving mode. This is something that I've been noticing about myself a lot. Actually, it's funny because I just saw an Instagram, I think it was a couple of days ago, an Instagram reel that it went super, super viral. She is a nervous system therapist, I think. I'm not 100% sure what she does, but the whole video was about her slowing down. Okay. So like different clips, like there's a clip of her walking really fast and she just stops and she's like, and she takes a breath and then she starts walking again, but slower, more intentionally. And then there's another clip of her like putting her groceries away and she's doing it like really quickly, like how we just do things on autopilot. And then she stops and she notices that she's like in fight or flight and she takes a breath and then she just starts doing it again, slower, more intentionally. That's kind of the whole thing. I want you to first notice. Are you moving very quickly? Are you constantly in fight or flight? If you're like quick to like just jump at people, if they come in and tell you something and you have like a reactive state to things, that's a really good indication that you're not in receiving mode. Okay. Another really, really, really good way to notice if you're in receiving mode is how do you receive compliments? If I came up to you today and told you how amazing you are at what you do, or how beautiful you looked, or how I loved your outfit today, like, oh my God, your hair looks amazing. How does that sit in your body? Do you feel it as like an acceptance in your body? Does it light you up and make you happy, make you smile? And do you receive it and say thank you? Or do you push it away and say, oh, this nothing. Oh, this whole thing. Oh, yeah, now I can barely get it to do anything I want it to do. My hair just does what it wants to do. Or if it's about your work, do you just be like, oh, yeah, like, thank you. But inside you're cringing. Okay, that's a sign. If that's happening, you are in this mode that I'm talking about. You're repelling what is really like right there for you to receive. You could even like not be in a place where I was talking about earlier, where I've kind of been like feeling like I've been forcing something. But if you have a problem receiving any sort of compliment, that means you're not set up to receive anything else, including money and clients and everything that you want in life. So I want you to just stop. The first thing is just to notice, where are these things showing up for you? Are you super reactive? Are you in a state of like a spinning sort of like energy where things just feel a little chaotic all the time? Or you're always in a rush. You feel like you're always in a rush. Okay. So the thing is you need to notice it first and then you slow down. Okay. Take 3 really, really good deep exhales. Make each one longer than the inhale. That's literally the cheat code right there, right? Your inhale is the gas pedal. Your exhale is the brake. And a longer exhale is what actually tells your nervous system that you are not, in fact, being chased. and then unclench your jaw. How many times have you been scrolling on Instagram and do you see some of those, or TikTok? There's a bunch of creators who do that, where something will pop up and be like, unclench your jaw. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't even know I was doing that. That's me to a T. Like I don't even want to talk to you about my TMJ. This is something that I'm like an ongoing process. I've gotten a lot better about it, noticing when I'm clenching, but we just do it unconsciously so much, especially if you're just wired that way. So, letting your brow relax, noticing if your shoulders are up too high, drop those. Like those are little practices you can do on your own. It takes like 3 to 5 minutes. If you have to set up some alarms on your phone to remind yourself to do these things throughout the day, if you feel like you are caught in a loop of doing and pushing and forcing and stress and fight or flight, you need to regulate. Okay. And it can be something as simple as this. And again, regulated doesn't mean like, oh, I'm zen, I'm in flow all the time. But no, are you at least 10% less constricted than you were a few minutes ago? That's a win. And I know how that sounds. 3 breaths and unclench your jaw sounds like the kind of thing that you would just scroll right past, right? Like, I get it, but stay with me here because the point is not the breath. The point is that you cannot do this next part from a clenched body. And the next part is where the real shift happens. Okay. So once you regulate, you take those breaths. Instead of gritting your teeth and shoving your way into the task, I want you to turn toward the resistance, face it. And I want you to ask it one question. What is this protecting me from? That's it. What is this resistance protecting you from? You can journal about it. You can just let it bubble up. When you ask your unconscious mind the right questions, it wants to seek the answers for you. And you know the answer. You already have them. It's just about opening up and listening to them. Because again, when you're dysregulated, you don't have access to that intuition in the same way. And then this is really an important part. You let the answer just come, okay? Before you do anything else, before you create a new plan, right? Don't force the answer. Just let it arrive. This might take a few days. It might not, because resistance is really almost never actual laziness. Resistance is just information. That thing you keep avoiding, the email you don't want to send, the pitch you don't want to create, the offer you won't launch, the price you won't increase. It's not stuck because you are a bad person and are a bad business owner and don't know what to do. It's stuck because like there's some part of you that's trying to keep you safe from something. And until you know what that is, you're going to keep white knuckling your way through it and wondering why it never gets any easier. Okay. This is like the deep, deep work that I do with people in one-on-one coaching. We dig into it. So if you're having a hard time accessing this piece for yourself, this is when working with a qualified coach who knows how to dig into this stuff with you in a very safe, supported, trauma-informed way can actually help you. And trust me, I've got my own. And there's a reason why I always will, because you can't see what's like right here, super close to you. But when you ask the question and you actually listen, one of two things happen. You either find out the fear is old, it's not even yours anymore, and naming it something like takes the charge right out of it. Or you find out that there is a real, like really wise reason why you've been hesitating. Like it would make sense that your body would be protecting you from this. And now you get to make a really clear decision instead of a forced one. Okay. Because it's not giving up. That's not like spiritually bypassing your to-do list and just calling it surrender. That's redirecting the force instead of running face fist into a wall with it over and over again. And then, calling that discipline and consistency and whatever bro marketing stuff is thrown at us. But it really is the difference between hustle and force in a really practical way. One asks the question and the other just keeps pushing and hopes that the wall moves, which we know it won't. But here's the part that nobody wants to hear, including me, but I'm going to say it anyway, because this is really what actually kind of sets you free. The surrender only works because of the effort that came before it. Okay, so let me say that again, because this is where most of the anti-hustle conversation completely falls apart. You don't get to let go of a system you never built. You do not get to trust a business you never actually set up to run. You don't get to gracefully respond to opportunity while your entire operation is held together by you personally forcing it forward every single day with your bare hands. Surrender is not the starting line, it's literally the reward for the work. The reason I can even talk about responding instead of forcing, the reason I know that is my path, even when I'm failing at it this week, is because underneath the current struggle, there are 18 years of built things, real things, systems, skills, a body of work. The letting go I am reaching for is only possible because there is actually something really solid to let go of. And this is the piece that I want you to really hone in on, because it's the aspirational part, yes, but it also is true. The version of you who has this handled, that version of you that you are trying to become, she's not somebody who works less because she found a shortcut. She's not lazier or luckier or even more zen. She's someone who did the intentional, often boring, deeply unsexy work up front. She built the thing. And because she built the thing, she gets to stop pushing it. She gets to stand up straight and respond to her life instead of dragging it. That version of you is real. She's not a fantasy. She's not someday. Even if you are still building your business, I'm not saying you have to be in business for years to feel this way, okay? But that version of you is real. She's not a fantasy, and she's not like a someday thing. She's on the other side of exactly the work that you've been avoiding. I really believe she's closer than you think. I really believe the version of me, that version of me, is very much closer than I have thought it was, okay? You don't need to hustle less. You just need to stop mistaking force for effort. That letting go part is really hard, you guys. I'm not saying it's easy. This is the part that I struggle with the most as well, because when you are in a place of need, right? Let's just say, like, if you're in a place of like, this has to work, or, I'm burnt out, or whatever it is, again, you're dysregulated, but you're closed off. And that energy in and of itself is not conducive to being even able to get to a place to let go. Letting go and knowing that the field has it, that's where that saying, the universe has your back, comes from. And if you are religious and you believe in God, it's the same thing, right? It's faith. God's got you. Jesus, take the wheel. Like, there's so many different sayings that have come from this. This is what that is. But again, what does the Bible say, right? Like, he helps those who help themselves. How are you helping yourself receive? How are you doing that piece of it? So I'm going to leave you with this. Like I said, I'm kind of in it with you right now. Okay. I mean, I've been in it for a while. I'm doing fine. Don't worry about me. I'm not quite on the other side of this, waving at you from the finish line. I mean, I have been, in the past. I was like, there's different places in my life where I can say, yes, I've been through this, but I'm kind of in the middle of something different now, doing the exact thing that I just spent 20 minutes telling you not to do, catching myself, breathing, asking the right questions, and getting to do it all again tomorrow. And I would not trade that for having it all figured out, because that's just where the becoming actually happens, right? There's no like destination here, truly. Like, the destination for our path here on earth is literally death, right? The real work is becoming your best and highest version of yourself along the way. Who are you becoming along the way? What are you learning? How are you growing? What are you integrating? How are you sharing that with others? How are you helping others? And how are you leaving the world? That's the work. It's a daily invitation to lean in, to let go, to surrender, to not force. But that's the work. And it's not fun. I know. Nobody's putting surrender on their vision board. Nobody's making a cute reel about doing this really tedious back end work now, so that in 6 months you get to respond instead of push. Okay. It doesn't make for a pretty picture. It's not super glamorous. It's the unglamorous, unintentional, do it before you feel like it work that almost nobody wants to do. And it is the exact work that eventually lets you let go. So I hope I painted that picture well for you guys and gave you something that you can walk away with that will actually help if you are feeling this as well. And like I said, maybe you're not feeling super stuck, but maybe that little exercise where you tuned in to how well you receive a compliment, maybe that triggered something. And if there is some resistance there, there's some work to do. And that's a really great opportunity, because on the other side of that is that version of you that you know has what you have been pushing for. So may we all learn to let go a little bit more this week, not by not doing intentional focused work, but by allowing our bodies, our nervous systems to feel safe. And again, ask yourself that question, because the answer's there. There's definitely, if there's something bubbling up, there's a reason why your body's protecting you from it. If you need help with that, that's what I'm here for. That's the work that I absolutely love to do. Inside of one-on-one coaching, we can go so deep, so fast. And people often ask me, just as a side note, if the 3-month coaching container is enough. And yeah, I think it is for sure. You can always extend it if you feel like you need to keep going. But I see huge breakthroughs occurring, even just in the first 4 to 6 weeks of coaching with somebody. Because by the time somebody reaches out to me, truly, they're ready. That's the one thing that I see consistently in the people, the women who come into my coaching. It's very rare that I have a call with somebody and they're like, okay, thanks for your time, and they don't sign up. By the time they sign up for a call with me, they know that they're ready to do the work. And that is most of the battle right there, is getting yourself to the point where you're like, okay, I know I got to do something about this. And then if you've tried to do it on your own and you're having a hard time, that's when it's time to reach out to a coach. It's not me. There's a lot of people who do this kind of work. So I encourage you to find someone to work with if you feel like you have been trying to no avail. It's kind of amazing what happens when the right energy aligns. I am a big believer that we're meant to find exactly what we're meant to find at exactly the right moment for us, because the universe is always working in your favor, right? Yes, it is. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, share it with a friend. Let me know about it too. Hit me up on Instagram at Renee Bowen if this brought something up for you. I'd love to know. If you're a senior photographer and you're dealing with this stuff in your business, I've got resources for you as well. I've got coaching, obviously, and I have a whole business in a box, the Senior Photographer Pro class that teaches you everything about building a senior photography business that is intentional and truly, truly you, like very much uniquely you. But I also have the Senior Sprint, which is the marketing piece of that larger course. It's something you can work through on your own. I built it with AI tools, built on all of my knowledge for the last 18 years. So it helps you go deep really fast, even without me being there. And it's on sale for $500 off through the end of this month. So if you're on a budget and you investing in coaching is not on the docket right now, and you are struggling in your senior business, whether that means you don't have clients or you don't know how to get clients, or you feel like you're just kind of talking into the void, then you should probably look into the Senior Sprint before it goes up in price. The link is in the show notes. Happy to chat if you have any questions about it to see if it's right for you. A lot of senior photographers have already worked through it and are getting really amazing results with it already, because I want you to be the senior photographer in your area and not just blend in with everybody else. You're unique. Let's show off the world why and how. So go take your 3 deep breaths, unclench your jaw, and ask the question. And I'll see you next week with another episode in my little summer series of changing your mind about something. Have a great rest of your week. Love you. Bye.